What's up, everybody? My name is Erin, and welcome to the Mad Maker Studio. Today, we are going to start playing Monsters of Little Haven.
Chapter: Escape. When Kenneth left the house to find his sister, the sun was still just breaking through the thick clouds. Having circled the village of Little Haven, Kenneth's voice was beginning to give out. Esme! Esme!
He sounds a little like the narrator from Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
She wasn't even in their place under the big oak that stands in the middle of the wheat field near the house. Desperate, he sat under the oak tree for several hours until it began to drizzle. He turned around to the sound of wet footsteps behind him and saw Esme. Kenneth was angry, but his sister's shabby appearance immediately softened his tone. "Where have you been? I was looking all over for you." "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "Come on, the hurricane's coming." Kenneth took his sister's hand and led her toward the house. "Well, you're all wet. What happened?" "Oh, I was attacked by a monster."
Oh no.
"A monster?" "I ran away from it and got lost." "Well, now Mom and Dad will think that we ran away." "I'm sorry."
Oh, our first big choice. If we run into the monster, I'll give it a piece of my mind. No need to apologize, just don't do it again. These are both very big brother things to say, I think. I want her to feel protected, so I'm gonna go with this first option.
"If we run into the monster, I'll give it a piece of my mind." It was very frightening. But you getting away already means you beat it. Do you believe me? Kenneth gave his sister an approving nod to reassure her.
Yeah, we don't want to drive her away and feel like, oh, nobody understands me, nobody believes me. And then she might develop this feeling of responsibility. Well, if nobody believes me, but the very real thing, well, I just have to take care of it because I'm the only one who can.
Esme was soaking wet, and her small steps were accompanied by squelching sounds. Kenneth stopped and helped Esme pour the water out of her boots. "How did you get so much water in there?" "I don't know." After wrapping her in his jacket, Kenneth rushed down the washed-away trail to the house. "Thanks." The way home was riddled with fear of the impending punishment, along with squelching boot noises. Well, it's a good thing that Grandma doesn't know, or who knows what she might think up. I agree. Grandma always has some story in her head. 5 minutes late, and she already imagines a pack of angry dogs or bandits attacking you. Or that you tripped over a rock in the woods and fell unconscious, face first, into an anthill. This conversation lifted their spirits.
Hey, at least their grandma cares.
When is Grandma coming? I don't know. Probably whenever she and Dad make up. Oh, I miss Grandma. A heavy silence fell, but it didn't last long. Do you remember Baloo? With those words, it was as if she had stabbed Kenneth between the ribs. he remembered. That was the name of the dog the Murphy family had buried a couple of years ago. Kenneth was very fond of Baloo, and his death really hit him hard. And then, for a few months, he slept, hugging his old collar.
Aww.
At first, Kenneth could burst into tears at any time, so that even the other side of the pillow wasn't always dry.
I remember. Like Pepperidge Farm, I remember.
Well, of course I remember. Will you give me his collar? It's just hanging on your backpack. No, and don't you dare touch it. At that moment, they had almost reached the plot, surrounded by a fence, looking fairly battered after all the years. As soon as they crossed it, something frightened Esme. She froze, pointing her finger toward the shed at the pier. Oh, hear that? What? There's a monster! Let's go home, or we'll get in trouble. As if she had heard something, Esme began to make a whining sound. Oh, it's going to be okay. Come on. But he will come at night.
So we can either check the shed or hurry on home. I'm all for checking the shed. Simply because he wants to be a big protective big brother. So he would want to either, check the shed or prove it wrong, or, even if there wasn't a monster, there could be an unsavory character like Simon Foreman who likes to look in the shadows. Check the shed.
We'll make sure there aren't any monsters and go home, okay?
Now the thought that just came to my mind is we might have opened an opportunity for the monster to get in the house while we're checking out the shed. Great.
Okay. Kenneth took her hand and they went to the pier.
And he's teaching her to helping her confront her fears. Grow stronger as a person.
Esme clutched Kenneth's hand, squeezing his palm. Even on the way to the shed, Esme was trying to look behind the half-open doors, which were moaning on the rusted hinges. In the half-light, it made tense even Kenneth. After approaching the shed, Kenneth opened the door in one motion, propped it with a stone, and then, with a bold gesture, invited Esme to come in. Oh, I'm scared.
Oh, you're doing great, Esme.
Thunder rumbled.
Oh, great.
Oh, did you see that? Someone was there. Nobody's here. Come on. Why do you say that when you saw him yourself? You were looking right at him. Well, I saw, like, it must have been some kind of a shadow, like yours. Kenneth took control of the situation. He was fooling around. He went inside with swagger, demonstrating the absence of monster, although he doubted it himself.
Dude, that's the beginning of every horror movie. Somebody is taunting fate. And then all heck breaks loose.
Not a soul. But the door was open. Oh, it's always open. Dad must have been in here recently. We'll close the door. Before Esme could answer, Kenneth took her in his arms and carried her out of the shed, knocking out the stone that held the door on the way. And then, for Esme's peace of mind, he slid back the loosened latch.
Well, it sounds like you're locking a door you may need to hide behind later.
Esme pressed herself against Kenneth's shoulder and whispered in his ear, "Are you sure he won't come out?"
Not at all. It's only chapter 1.
Kenneth played along. "Of course. Have you seen how big the lock is?" Esme had calmed down, but later added very quietly under her breath, "I hope it's not too cold in there for him." On the doorstep, Kenneth met Mom and Dad. They were solemnly showing out a stranger in a formal outfit. As soon as he approached, the adults' conversation stopped. "Go up to your room, honey. I'll be right there." Satisfied that they had escaped punishment, Kenneth and Esme hurried up the stairs to their room. In the room, there was a glass of milk and a plate of pancakes on the table waiting for them.
Pancakes and milk for dinner? We've all been there.
Kenneth took the wet jacket off Esme, rubbed her hair with a thin blanket, and sat her down at the table. "Here, you should eat." "Oh, thank you." "They're quite cold, though." "Do you want me to go downstairs and warm them up?" "Oh, no, they're delicious. Thanks." "Don't go down there. Sit with me." Kenneth was afraid of his parents' reaction to their escape. But everything was still quiet. "Well, let's hang the wet dress up to dry." "Oh, thanks."
Seems like that should have been the first thing you've done.
"Now go to bed." Kenneth covered his sister with a blanket and lay down on his bed.
Hey, he's a good big brother.
They were both staring blankly at the ceiling until Esme said, "Oh, I wish the monster was gone."
I'm waiting for a jump scare, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. Sure, I will, but the anticipation is like really getting at me right now.
"Oh, it's going to be okay. You need to sleep." "All right." Esme curled up into a ball and turned to the wall. There was an awkward knock at the door, followed by the equally awkward mother's tone. "Are you okay?" Kenneth looked at Esme. She was almost sleeping. "Yep." Behind his mother, he heard Father's quiet voice from downstairs. "Oh, don't wake him up." "Good night." The door closed. Esme rustled in bed and turned to Kenneth. "Why didn't they scold us?" I don't know." It seemed that Esme had fallen asleep. He heard his parents talking softly downstairs.
I wonder if we hurried home, not only would we have gotten warm pancakes, but maybe we would have overheard some of the conversation or gotten more context for what's happening.
Then he heard cabinet doors opening and a kind of softly tinkling. It became more quiet. Kenneth was sleepy. He overheard the room door creaking. Kenneth pretended to be asleep. A beam of light spilled onto his bed from the half-open door. A moment later, the door closed gently. Kenneth fell asleep. Thunder rumbled. As Kenneth opened his eyes a little, he flinched to the wall out of fright as he saw Esme's shadow in front of him in the light of the lightning flash. She was sitting on the bed, terrified, with her knees pressed to her chest. The door to the room was open.
Just enough for a monster to slip through.
Kenneth ran to her and knelt beside her. "What's the matter? Are you afraid of the thunder?" "Oh, there was a monster looking for something." Kenneth was confused, feeling helpless because of his sister's behavior. Usually, stories about the monster didn't go this far. "Well, what was the monster looking for?" "Oh, for me, of course. But I hid like this." She demonstrated, covering her eyes with her palms. "Even being this close, he didn't see me. What a stupid fool. Searched through the nightstands, the closet, under the bed, as if I could fit in there."
That's another horror movie trope. Calling the thing that could kill you stupid. I have no context. I did no research on how scary this game actually is, but I'm digging the aesthetic so far, and I'm ready to solve a mystery, I guess.
"You want me to call Mom and Dad?" "Oh, no, don't." Kenneth noticed a puddle on the sheet under Esme and read shame in her eyes.
Aw.
Pretending there was nothing there, he moved her to his bed. "Why didn't you call the parents?" "Oh, I was scared. You and I are already in trouble." "And what happened next?" "Oh, at some point, he leaned over you as if he wanted to bite off half of your face with his big, toothy jaws. Or to kiss you, haha."
Thanks, Esme.
"Yes?" "Well, I didn't see. He attacked me differently." So your monster wants to give me a kiss, but attacks you?" "I wonder what new notes are you going to add to your diary about the monster?"
Hey, dude, you were scared earlier. Don't lie.
Esme became upset. Kenneth gave up. He just sat there for a while, waiting for what came next. Esme ran to her bed, lifted the corner of the mattress briskly, took out her diary, and put it in Kenneth's hands, as if trying to convince him of something. Kenneth knew about the diary, but Esme always kept it to herself. The book looked worn out, and at the same time, girly neat.
What is that supposed to mean, girly neat?
Kenneth carefully held the diary in his hands, appreciating Esme's trust. "A bow knot. Well done," Kenneth thought, keeping all jokes to himself for the time being. "Oh, read." "Maybe later?" He put the diary on his nightstand. "Oh, you won't laugh, will you?" Esme asked, as if she regretted giving away her personal diary. "Oh, of course not." "And don't tell anyone." Esme sat in front of Kenneth with glowing eyes and seemed not to even think about going to sleep. While Kenneth was wondering how to calm Esme down, she continued the conversation first. "Why, have you ever seen it?" Oh, the monster? Yep.
Hmm.
Well, I haven't seen it. And if you had, would you tell anyone?
Well, I would tell you. Clearly, you have experience tracking this monster.
I don't know. Why? Well, probably because no one would believe me. Oh, that's stupid. How come? Why doesn't anyone believe me? I really did see it.
I believe you. They don't believe you because they haven't seen it. I like both of these answers. But he's already made himself out to be a skeptic. And this falls on us. All right, let's go with this. They don't believe you because they haven't seen it.
Well, they don't believe you because they haven't seen it.
Hope I didn't just inadvertently encourage her to catch the monster so everyone can see it.
Chapter Murphy's.
Right, that was an interesting start. I'm not sure how long the game is entirely, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this episode of Monsters of Little Haven here. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye!